So T. Lou makes his coaching debut tonight, and when you go from top assistant to head coach, there is just a little bit more media attention, as Coach Lou found out moments ago.
Coach Tom Withers, Associated Press. This morning you were talking about how the big three, I think you were speaking to specifically, need to sacrifice. They know they're not going to get their shots. Shouldn't that group be beyond that point? I know there's been some interruptions with injuries and things like that, but shouldn't they be past that by now?
Well, I've been with a few big threes in my career, and it's just, you know, when Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce came together, it was late in their career. So they had to win a championship now. And I think with our young stars, with Kyrie and with Kevin, you know, they're young. So, you know, it's still still about, you know, their brand and different things. And it's just way different. And I got to get those guys to understand that it's about winning. Nothing's over winning. So just putting those guys together, know it's going to be sacrifice, and know I have to do a better job of getting those guys to sacrifice.
Casey Johnson with the Chicago Tribune. Coach, I know you talked about this a little bit this morning, but what specifically did you learn from Phil Jackson in your time with him?
With Phil, I just always learned that he was poised. Never got rattled. I think, you know, just looking at him as being a player and as being a coach now, that when you're frantic and you're up and yelling and you're up screaming, it makes your team nervous. And Phil was just, he teach and yell and scream in practice, but when we got to the game, you know, he let you figure it out yourself. So I learned that a lot of patience.
Would that kind of be your style a little bit, you think?
I think so, yes. I mean, I'll yell and scream if I have to, but for the most part, I want to just, you know, let these guys play. I'm not really worried about right now this early about the games. I'm really just worried about our spirit is more important than anything. Getting our spirit right, getting our spirit together, and I think everything else will take care of itself because we got a lot of great players.
Tony Cartagena, ESPN Cleveland. Coach, a whirlwind, I can't imagine, of past 24 hours. What's changed for you, and how are you feeling with the adjustments and specifically like your pregame routine and responsibilities, really?
Well, I think I had to change phones. I had 800 and something text messages, so that would be the first change. It was just overwhelming, but a lot of supporters, you know, people who know me, who I've been around for a long time. And just a change as far as, you know, coaching, everything's pretty much the same. You know, I'm still upstairs with the group of guys I was with in Jim Boylan, Larry Drew, you know, Brad Brillmeyer. So, I mean, it's not really changed outside the media and the press.
Ty, Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Going back to your experience in Boston with the Big Three, we talked with Doc about this the other night, saying that he found himself counting how many shots Ray was getting, Kevin, Paul Pierce. Do you feel like being around that Big Three sets you up for success or allows you to fit with this group of guys just because of that experience?
Well, I think so. I just think, you know, the biggest thing was Kevin Garnett. As soon as he came in, they tried to make a big deal about whose team it was. Is it Paul's team? Is it his team? And he nipped it in the bud right away. So this is Paul Pierce's team, and I'm just here to help. And when you have a guy like that that sacrifices like that, who's a great player himself, you know, it's tough. And I was telling the guys this morning about, you know, an article I read about Dwayne Wade, you know, in Miami. And he just talked about, you know, the first year they lost, you know, if you remember, it was about who's going to take the last shot, LeBron, whose hands the ball going to be at the end of the game. And the second year, D-Wade said, you know what, I had to remove myself. I had to stand in instead of stand out. I had to turn the team over to LeBron in order for us to win. And you got to think about that. That's real sacrifice for a guy who's won a championship. It was Wade County, and then have to turn your keys over to LeBron James when it's already your team. You won a championship and a Finals MVP. So, you know, that's real sacrifice.